Amplify the Podcast, Season 2. I am your host, Hassan, and with me I have the author, artist, philanthropist, Rashad Patterson, coming out of Atlanta, Georgia. This gentleman has published over 6 books for children's education from a sociological platform, trying to push an agenda of furthering the education of our youth, our Black culture, before it hits outside of public education. Usually, as we know, that you need to get these higher learned concepts outside of public school, but Rashad has a mission, he has a vision in order for you to get this information to your children faster. And I could not be more proud to have this interview with him. Thank you so much for joining me, Rashad. For me, it was more of the situation of what is it can I do to be more present, to do something that creates a legacy, to be able to have something to pass on to your children, as well as to just document something in history. Because like I said, if we're not really vocal, if we're not really making noise or pushing not an agenda, but pushing the line, so to speak, if we're not doing that, then, I feel like we've somehow or another failed. Should you have some platform, like make some difference, do some good, right? Do something. Right. Which when I listen to him talk, my cousin's just 100 miles an hour. So when I listen to him talk, I'm like, man, I love it. I love that he's doing good. And then he talked to you. He posted your interview with him on the podcast. And I was like, oh, this brother's doing good too, which is, fantastic. So I started studying you and just trying to understand, what you were about, which I got a glimpse because, Instagram doesn't show everything. So I got a glimpse of it. And then the book came out. And I said, well, I need the book. I have a son. So I said, well, I need the book because, you have a boy and a girl book. So I do want to talk about that, but it just interested me so much. I said, I have to now. Now I got to make the call. I got to come and try to reach out to you and see if you'd be interested.
Atlanta have, it's Black Mecca. It has a lot of opportunities for Black people. So they'll get stuck in Atlanta, just not wanting to do, you got the club and all that. But when I started going out and I started seeing like, okay, Black people only live on this side of town in like Tampa, you know what I mean? Well, in Atlanta, we all over the city. It's white people, but it's not like that. Even in South Georgia. So yeah, I totally get what you say about the hip hop culture. Yeah.
And I am hip hop. I was stuck in it. I mean, I'm in it. Street culture, car culture, everything. And so I'm part of that. I just understand that that's not only us. So, as I do business, I said, well, there's 700 people who are doing that one particular thing. I don't have to do that. So even in me contributing to the culture, I did it through promotions. I have a photography background. So I documented a lot of stuff, mixtape covers, album covers, produced some calendars. I was in media for a long time. However, as I got older and as I'm starting to look at, raising children and seeing how we only have a very funneled view of us, and it's not fair, So I look at your book and I said, well, this book, we're going to come back to this. This book is my story. I got emotional reading this. When you mailed it to me, I was like, oh, great, I got it. And I was going to read it to my son, but I want to pre-read it, right?
Right.
He's not really going to understand it, but I wanted to pre-read it. I read this book, man. I had to put it down. I swear to you, I'm not blowing you up. I swear, I had to put it down. I got very, I got goosebumps right now. I got touched because I said, well, this is me, 100%. Right. I mean, just for whoever's outside looking at me not being outside. So within our collective communities, I know that we have this feeding channel, where you can be in one elementary school, but it's because of the population within the zone. Well, I mean, that's the same as us. So if you go to that elementary school, you're going to go to the next middle school, you're going to go to that high school. But if that school isn't budgeted correctly, if it's not funded, you're going to get a very old and just basic education. And basic sometimes is intentional.
Right.
And they don't help in that direction, right? So I'm a purveyor of education. I'm big on that as well, because the constant challenge I understand, because I'm a testament of it, makes you grow. And it's unfortunate that we as a whole community don't get those opportunities. So I'm incredibly thankful that I did, but I understand the pros and cons of it, right? And when I read the book, I'm saying, well, yep, that's me, flipping burgers, sweeping floors, same. I was like, that's that, you know? And I could not thank you enough, man. So I just had to open up the platform so we can just really chop it up and just really try to understand, you know, who you were as a businessman, why you did the book, you know, things like that.
I appreciate that, man. Okay, so I really appreciate it, you know, because a lot of folks they didn't get they getting it now, but when I first started off, they didn't see where I was coming, but where my vision, you know. But yeah, man, I went to Georgia State. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. That's how I linked back up with Shaka at Georgia State. I ain't seen Shaka yet. We went to high school together, you know. So we go hang out on the weekend and go to the parties and on the east side and whatnot. You know, the skate culture was heavy back then. But as far as me, I didn't know I was gonna be an author. I started rapping like most kids, you know. That's where the writing started in 4th grade from a teacher. A teacher had seen that I had a talent for writing. It just needed to be crafted, you know.
Yeah.
Then I started rapping, you know, and then I didn't really take it serious, but I continued to write raps. But it wasn't you know, the rap what I was doing now. When my mama died, that's when I took a different approach with the rap, and I tried like positive rap, like no cussing and nothing, you know. So I know you hear the music. Yeah, so it's no cussing, no N-word. I always got a message in every song I do.
Yeah. So,
and I know, like you say, hip hop is so influential. So I think I had to tie that in with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
With the Rashad Patterson brand.
Sure.
But yeah. So I got the concept of writing children's books. I graduated from Chattanooga Tech. At first, thought I was gonna be in IT. You know. Okay. That's really what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Because at the time, I had started a documentary. It was a street documentary. We was just going around in my neighborhood filming all the hustlers. You know what I'm saying? It's called Definition of a Hustler. You know, okay. So it got a little name. So that's where the interviewing came from. You know, but I left it alone. And then when I went to Georgia State, I didn't really have time. I was working a job at a hotel, and I was going to school. So after I leave Georgia State, 5 classes, then I might get home 2 in the morning. I'm studying, and I'm back at school. So that was basically my day. So I had to change my major because I got a C in accounting, and so my counselor was like, well, you can take this class over, or you can change one of your majors. So I came across sociology. I kind of was upset because I was like, man, what I'm gonna do with this major right here? But not knowing I was already dealing with in that field, I just had to educate myself by with the interviews, just going around. Right. And with the positive rap, just the social consciousness. So I started learning different information, and I was like, hey man, a lot of this ain't being taught to kids. I was like, what if we taught them this, you know, at an earlier age? Because sociology is a good discipline, but it's not being introduced to kids till they go to college or higher learning.
You're right.
Yeah. And you know, with society going on, I think it was important, but that was just an idea at that time. So while I was working, let's go to that perception of Black culture, what you were saying, you know. So I was working, I'm a shuttle driver in Marietta. It's like a suburb outside Atlanta. So I'm driving, they got the BET Hip Hop Awards. So they got all the Black women right there. They looking good and they dress whatnot. And it's like about 12 white boys on this van. And it's like 3 adults, you know what I'm saying? And they wasn't no older than, I had to say about 13. So the white boy, he said, hey man, what's going on? Is it Martin Luther King birthday? He talking about the black women. He was saying he was saying some more racial slurs, but I ain't gonna go into detail. But I was like, he kind of young talking like this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that would have hit me. His daddy hit him. He's like, hey man, this ain't the time and the place. I was like, oh, they're being taught racism. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, and then went back to school and I started learning some more things. And I was like, this is what I'm finna do. And that's when I came up with my first book. It's called Race, Same Country, Different Life Chances. So it's basically teaching kids about how race it plays a very important part in society. You know, it breaks it down on the micro level. You know,
again, during the lead up to it, I saw it. So my initial thought was that this was your first book.
That was mine.
And then when I started reading more, you know, and checking your page, doing, because I try to research my people, so it's just not me speaking ignorantly about one thing.
Right.
It's like, oh man, you wrote like 6 books. So this is even better. And that's your first one.
That's the first book, Race. So it's a little different than all the other books. It's not storytelling, it's a discussion-based book. Okay. Well, I want people, because in college I kind of like the feel of when we sit around and we was discussing different ideas, and you know, a person will say their opinion, and they'll say their opinion, you know, and then we'll come to a medium and go from there. So it's a discussion-based book for kids to discuss about race, and it talks about different race issues that happen in society, you know, like civil rights movement, Brown versus Board of Education, the Japanese intervention when that happened in California. Then my second book was I wrote a paper on the criminalization of Black men in America.
Okay.
That's how I came to Prisoners in the Homeland. So I was looking at this paper, I was like, man, I can make this a book right here.
Yeah. I
just broke it down. That's when I got into storytelling on my second book. So it basically shows the connection from slavery and mass incarceration.
How old is your song, Victims of the System?
Oh, that's very recent.
It's very recent? Okay. I mean, it's very appropriate. But
yeah, I probably dropped that about maybe 3 months ago or something like that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, the sad and good part about that is that the song hits, but if you dropped it 10 years ago, it still would have been as impactful.
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? Like the sad situation is that hasn't changed too much.
Right.
You know, we only now have politicians even admitting, like Hillary Clinton maybe, at the most recent time admitting about the purposeful prosecution of this technical super predator style classification, which gives you a higher sentencing based on the classification that you're actually going to get tried for, which is all about our community. Yes. Like although there are super predators outside of Black culture, probably more, but nonetheless, we get this label,
right?
And then all of a sudden it hinders more growth. Right. We have a level of inability to adjust back to what social regulations and norms are after you go through the system, and you can't reprogram. There's no programs for it that the government issues. So, you know, you have to have some philanthropists to try to do some level of reformation. It's something that we're missing, you know, here. But I'll tell you, these countries up north, they work really well, you know. But like I said, the song was poignant. I think it's probably the best way I can say it. I learned something when I was traveling, and I understood, because when I travel, what I try to do is I try to talk to everyone about how their life works, about how life in this society works. Because, you know, we're not from wherever that is, right? And I lived in Asia for a good stint. And I was the only Black American there. So I'm on an island, literally, and I'm the only thing that is from here that looks like me. Everybody else that looks like me is African, continental African. So, you know, they have 3 different languages that they speak. I'm not speaking French. You know, they all collectively as a community speak French. But when they see me, they embrace me. It's not that I'm saying that I was ostracized. I'm saying that the Black people of that location understood what I was about to go through. And it's really more about the localized Chinese acceptance of immigration. Another thing you said, though, is that, you know, you changed your major to sociology. You weren't advised to change it to sociology. You just
What she gave me a list. She was like, "Here, this is what you can change it to, and what would you fit, and I can graduate on time." Cause like I say, me and Shaka, we was a little older than the kids. But I'm grateful that I went to this to change my discipline. I started taking social change classes. I took a lot of African American history classes. You know, because we need to know about ourselves. You know, I mean, like you said, our culture started before hip hop. You know what I mean? Even though that's part of our culture, a lot of that's all what we kind of know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I'm really happy to hear this. See, these are the things that when you study, you just can't. When you study a person, you just don't know that part. And the education that you received, the fact that you chose, or it was chosen for you, sociology, that's the pathway that gave you the foundation for you to actually do these things.
Right.
And this, what you're referring to, isn't just about Atlanta. It is about society as a whole. I'm so thankful that you actually did it. You know, I really do. I really am. It's 6 books total though, right?
6 books. I'm working on one currently now. Yeah.
But they're self-published, right?
Yeah, self-published, yeah.
So 6 books deep in self-publishing. How is it that, I mean, if you don't mind me asking from the business side of it, how do you recoup that, or are you sponsored, or are you operating as an NPO?
Nah, it's all my money. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, like you said, I've been working since I was 14, so I'm pretty good with saving money. You know what I mean? So I had, some money saved. I've been working. I done worked 2 jobs at one time. Before I went to Chattanooga Tech, I was working 2 jobs, do 2 hotels. So I had a few dollars saved up, and I was just fortunate enough to have, some money saved. And then I dabbled with the stock market a little bit.
Sure.
When the pandemic came, before the pandemic, I was going to different schools, so then I had to really strategically think about like what I'm finna do with it. Because some days I struggle, like, what am I doing? You know what I mean?
Because some things for marketing purposes make more sense as a alter ego, so to speak. Like it just feeds better, which is what I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I thought that you were doing. Like,
So all right. So the dog, I'm branding the dog, the pit bull. I picked pit bull because everybody likes dog, America. America. So I'm branding that dog because I don't really like to put my face out there. If you notice,
Right on.
I want them to see that dog as a Mickey Mouse or a Sesame Street or an apple. That's just this is the logo. You know what I mean? When the kid or a parent, whoever, they can identify that logo. So basically that's why I'm using that. And one of the questions you asked me about was how did I get into the anime? So I initially, like you said, it was marketing. I paid a guy to do my first ad, and it was a stock image. I was like, it was cool. Then I started researching. I was like, okay, I need an illustrator. Now that's one person I do have on my team. The illustrator, she just outsourced. I just pay her. So everybody I use, the only person that's in Atlanta is the engineer, Tommy Stoner. He makes my beats and does my engineering.
So you outsource your animation and your illustration.
Illustration, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And the person who formats the book too. So
the book is formatted outside of that, but so that will come back to you. Do you publish it through Blurb or like how?
Okay, nah. So okay. Well, first I sketch my books, you know what I mean? Because I can't draw, you know what I mean? Okay. I got the idea, you know what I'm saying? So I get an idea, then I sketch how I want everything, say about 40, 50 pages, sketch it. Then from there, I type up what I then wrote, send it to an editor. I had an illustrator do everything, make sure, because it's edited, and then after that you have to pay somebody to format the book to put it in like a MOBI file, or EPUB, so it'll be on or PDF, so it'll be able to print. So I like Amazon because I don't have a book printer, so they give me the means to distribute my books right now. Eventually, I want to cut out Amazon and I'll have my own book printing distribution company.
No, it makes all the sense in the world. It's just that when you get the final file, right? When you get the final file, you upload that to Amazon.
Oh, so Amazon has it's owned by Amazon, but it's called KDP, it's self-publishing. That's for people who don't want to pay like Book Baby. You have to pay them like I said, I had a few dollars. You know what I mean? I was like, why I need to pay them if they gonna put me on Amazon? I can do this. You know, they gonna pay for an illustrator myself. I was like, nah, I'm gonna do this. Every step is me. I'm paying for it independent. Yeah. So even to me buying the book to the postage, you know, you get the file and say you want it for paperback. You put the PDF on there, and then if you need a ebook, it's a file called a Mobi. And then Barnes & Noble has a self-publishing too. So I did upload some of my ebooks on Barnes & Noble. It's basically got an efficient supply chain distribution to me, you know.
You didn't jump off the question. That actually, I'll tell you why I was very interested in that. But the first question is, all right, do you mind that information being public? Because that's more like...
Nah, everything. Hey, man, I'm here to help people. I ain't even, you know, I get people telling me I need to sell a class and all that. I be telling them that ain't what my thing is. The Rashad Patterson brand. I don't want to make money off of that, you know, because it's people that want to. I actually helped a little girl put her own book out, walked her through the whole step. Okay. You know, her mama reached out to me. She was like, I said, I got you. You know, I'm gonna walk through. She got her books and she's selling, doing good. You know, she's actually in middle school. Nah, that's cool. Because another question you asked me was more for me. Now, when I first started, I ain't see where I was going. This just the beginning. It's the books, but the Rashad Patterson brand is bigger. I want to get into cartoons, have my own cartoons that's relatable for urban kids, because it's cartoons out here, but we like to see stuff that we can relate to sometimes. Yeah. You know, not taking that wrong away from the other cartoons out there, but you know, so that's why my books are like that. I want realistic social problems that kids are going through on a day that they can relate to.
Variety. Right, in terms of what it is that's necessary in order for you to have a choice. That, you know, if you have education in Black faces that people can relate to, that's one thing. If you have just sheer comedy entertainment in Black faces that people can relate to, that's another. And you don't have to ride with one team. You can have it all. Like, it's something for everyone. And whenever you want to switch over and be entertained by something else, you have the right to do that. But the stuff needs to be out there. It needs to be out there. So I'm very glad that that's your vision, man. Like, the system of how you organize your stuff, this is learning on the fly. But I'm glad you were talking about college at first as the education background, because we don't learn this in public school.
Nah.
But it also inspired you to take it to the next level to do the entrepreneurship that you are doing.
Right.
But so if you're on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, that means that the book is for purchase at those two outlets, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have a podcast. Do you call yours a podcast, or is it more like an interview platform?
More interview, but it's podcast, you know, it's on that line. Yeah.
So again, what interested me the most about it is that your niche is the bulldog or the pit bull. So the pit bull is I'm a fan of, not really South Park as a show, but I'm a fan of South Park the way it was animated in the first season, because it's just very direct and crude, you know?
Right. So
man, this is amazing. And it's just so funny and impactful the way it is. So when I saw yours, I said, that for me, I like that. And it's in a short format, you know, 12, 15 minutes depending. And I thought it was perfect in terms of expanding the platform. I wanted to know, why you did it that way, but we understood the marketing purpose for the pit bull. But then also, what made you even want to put that on YouTube?
Well, like I said, I had a street DVD going around in the neighborhood, and people always, man, you need to crank. When I had stopped, you know what I'm saying, because it was bubbling. It had a lot of heavy hitters on there that's in my neighborhood, you know, from like Ben Hill to, because I did the whole Southwest, and then I had people from Ben Hill, Cascade, Oakland City, just Campbellton Road, even Adamville. My homeboy, he seen me one day. He was like, man, this girl ran up to the store. She was just pointing at me. She was like, she didn't know where she knew me from. Then she finally said it, like, oh, you was on Definition of a Hustler. You know what I mean? Then he came to me. The other folks said that too. They was like, man, I like that, bro. You put me out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Had me. One dude, he was in court. Somebody ran up on him. He was like, hey, man, you was on my, cause they called me BP. It's like, you was on BP DVD, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, but I had stopped and went to school. I stopped all that for about 4 years. And then during the pandemic, my other partner, he was like, man, you need to do the interviews again. But I didn't want to physically do no recording. And so I was like, man, I might do the animation. So I tried it out, and then I ran with it. I got a good feedback. I had got about 10 subscribers. I was like, oh, they watching. Okay. So then I did another one. It jumped up. And then from there, I just kept going with it,
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's really entertaining. It is.
Yeah.
And I mean, not necessarily like, because there's nothing funny, quote unquote, there's nothing funny about it. What it is, though, is that how it's formatted. Right. It cracks me up because, again, I'm a fan of the animation. So it's like, this is funny and visual, but informative, right? So this is business as well as something that the children can relate to,
Right. So I also want to show I wanted to show the kids that it's multiple occupations in life that you could do, like you said, away from hip hop. Nothing wrong with hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong. And if you're gonna do it, why don't you flip it over and do it a different way? You know what I mean? It's a lot to talk about, a lot to motivate, educate. The mic is powerful. But I wanted to, and then also it started off just showing people what was going on in the community, because I do want people to know Atlanta is more than a city, it's a culture. It did show me about, because when I first started, my cousin Cody, he gave me some constructive criticism because he do film. He was like, hey man, you need an intro about it and a conclusion, so I appreciate my cousin Cody for that.
I appreciate your cousin for telling you that. There's a young lady who told me that too. Shout out to Tiffany Martin. I love you very much. She did the same thing to me, but it is important because otherwise, people aren't following, they're just jumping in on a conversation and then they're like, well, who is this and what's going on,
Right.
Which is incredibly important. So can we talk about Runaway Girl and Slow Money is Better Than No Money Girl?
Runaway Girl. So how I came up with Runaway Girl, it actually just came to me. All the other ones, they actually have a reason why I wrote them. That's the only one that just came to me. I was like, sex trafficking is very relevant. It was a girl that was missing in Atlanta. I ain't have no connection to her. And it's something that ain't talked about, it's kind of swept up under the rug. I was seeing missing girl, there was, and with the internet, it has accelerated human trafficking, made it more easier to grab somebody. If you got a good story or however what they call it, finesse. Yeah. Got a good finesse game, you can, and then there's people that's they searching for something. So, I gave them this book and then I started going around to the school, the kids were gravitating to it. So basically it's about a girl named Yolanda. She meets somebody online and she thinks it's just casual conversation and eventually she gets catfish and unfortunately nothing happens to her. I ain't wanted to be too deep, but I just wanted to aware kids like, hey man, this is serious, hey, and the outcome could be unfortunate. But she met somebody online who she thought was a little kid, but come to find out it's an older guy, and they grabbed her and had her in a bad situation. But unfortunately, she gets rescued or whatnot. And as you see, like all my books, the protagonist, which is the leading character, I make sure they have Black kids because I think representation matters. I want them to see them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I didn't really want nothing against animal and fairy tale books, but I want them to be like. I know I can't change all the kids, but I can say I wear them, and then if they do run across a situation, they'll know about it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And they can recognize. Yeah.
With the fairy tale books, right? You get like Brer Rabbit, Peter Rabbit, things like that, which are telling a story, and it's a beware story, right?
Right.
Do you think that it makes more sense to have a human shown, right, animated or not, to have a human shown as opposed to the animal?
Like me as a young kid, I wasn't really gravitated to them type of books. You know what I mean? I was thinking from my perspective. I want them to make them read, make them want to look. So one girl, she told me her little 4-year-old son, he liked the book. You know what I mean? He can't read, but he can process what's going on because of the pictures. Yeah. So,
no, I agree. I think just visually, I think that if the baby looks in the mirror and they see themselves in the mirror and they look in this book and see themselves in the book, it makes easier sense for them to relate to the story. You
Right.
know, when they draw pictures, when they're able to draw and they draw their family pictures, there's no animals there. There's humans, as bad and crudely as a baby can draw, but it's still human beings. You know, they associate themselves in the illustration when they're making them. So it does make more sense that a author would do the same thing to show relatability for the viewer, you know, like that. I like that intent. It makes a lot more, which is what compelled me to get the book. I said, it's a black face, it's a brown man. That's going to make a lot more sense to him because he is that. So, you know, he's going to be able to see that and understand that's you, and this is what you can do too, you know. Could not be happier with the book. I thought the product was absolutely great. Do you want to touch on Slow Money is Better Than No Money?
Slow money, better than no money. The title speaks for itself. So number one, it's nothing wrong with working a job. You know what I mean? In our community, it's looked down upon. That'll have somebody who has an opportunity to get a job, they'll turn that job down just because he's not looked at as making quote unquote money. You know, but in the end, slow money is good. You know what I mean? As you see Tyrone, the guy, he's able to establish credit. You know what I mean? A lot of people who have this fast money, they don't have bank accounts. You know what I mean? I know people personally, you know, 35, 36, they got fast money, but they don't have bank accounts. They can't get a home, you know, and I'm not saying nothing wrong with it because, you know, it's certain people have these situations that they put in, but you know, if you don't have to do that, you know, and you got an opportunity to work a job, you know, it's cool. Like I said, working a job, it give you a work ethic, you know what I mean? It's instilling you to do something. So you can pace the money, you know what I mean? And it's risk free, you know. You have to look over your shoulder, you know. A lot of people, they get this fast money, but they being shot, you know. You can be paralyzed. It's just, you know, it's more than one route to take in life, and a lot of times in our community, it's shown that hey, this is the only route you have to take. This finna get off track, but I gotta say this. So a month ago, I just left Tampa. I think that's when you wanted to interview me. It was like late at night, so I'm going around trying to see what's going on the harbor. Bar. I'm the only black person in there. You know what I mean? It's Tampa. White. Yeah, Tampa. I was, but I like. It's a beautiful city. It's white and it's Spanish down there. You know what I mean? So, you know, immediately I'm different, you know, even my accent, you know, but I ain't gonna leave. I'm having a good time, order some drinks. I don't even drink like that, but I'm here. So I get something to eat. That's a white dude sitting on the side of me. I ain't know he was watching me the whole time. You know, I'm dressed, you know, it was raining, so I had a hoodie on, but I tipped the girl, you know what I mean? I buy something else, then I tip her another $6, you know what I mean? Because I used to, when I worked in the hotel industry, I understand tips, you know? Sure. So the white dude, I'm finna leave, he tell me, hey man, you been well behaved the whole night. And so I say, hey man, what is that supposed to be? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you know, that's a little dry humor. I say, so I ain't find nothing funny about that, you know what I'm saying? But the moral of the story is, you know what I'm saying, what we supposed to be criminals? You know, every black man, they robbers, selling drugs, or breaking in your house, you know what I mean? And it's just sad that they think like that, and we have a lot of us have internalized that image. So that's why I wanted to put this book out, Slow Money, Better Than No Money, and I'm gonna continue pushing this as the top seller, you know what I mean? Because the message is, I just feel like it need to be heard and instilled in our community. We being taught so much of the wrong things that's untrue, and it's just a cycle, you know. And a lot of kids, they don't even know that they caught up in that cycle. So, you know, if I could change one kid life, 2, 3, 4, you know.
I agree. You are making me remember a lot of stuff, and you're making me remember Tampa, Florida. I had to go out there for some shows often. And that it's not as though it wasn't my favorite place. It's Florida, and it's nice. But it's not. I couldn't stay long. Let me just say it like that. You know? Yeah,
like we are the minority down there.
We are not in the majority at all, and that's okay. Until it makes you uncomfortable for one reason or another. But, you know, things like you're well behaved, you know, all night, like, yeah, thanks. But number one, why? You know, like, what's the point? Like, was I supposed to come and flip this place over, you know?
Right.
You know, and if that's the case, what is it about what y'all have experienced in Tampa that makes you think that that's going to happen. You know, like it's that thing too. And those conversations happen all over the place. It's unique. It's unique to us. I wish for a more peaceful and more harmonious world. I just understand the world we live in. You know,
gotta understand it.
Yeah. You gotta understand how to move. So I do appreciate this because I think it's unique. Again, you know, the reason why I was interested is because when I saw the model, I said, well, I have to try to understand this a little bit better. And what better way to do that than on this platform, you know, so we can really discuss it. And it's been more insightful than I even expected. And I expected a lot, but this has been really, really good though.
I appreciate this, you know. Yeah.
Okay, so then before I let you go, man, tell everybody where to find you.
All right, so you know, you got my website, RashadPatterson.com. You got my YouTube channel. Just type Rashad Patterson. You know, YouTube interviews. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. It's Rashad Patterson _Patterson _. And on Facebook, you can find me at Rashad Patterson. And I appreciate you, Brother Hassan, for this opportunity. You know, it's many more to come. Man, this was a good interview, you know what I mean? I ain't know what to expect, you know what I mean? So I appreciate this, man. And, you know, we got to shout out to Shaka Bailey, you know, because if it weren't, you know, he put this together. He don't even know it, you know what I'm saying?
He don't even know it. Yeah, Shaka, if you listening, and I'm going to make sure you hear this anyway, but if you listening,
we don't send it to him.
We send it to him, but I can't be more proud of you, man. I love what you're doing out there. I just want everything to ease up in terms of restrictions to get this variant out the way, man. And I'm going to see y'all soon. All right, so this has been Qualified the Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Hassan. With me was Rashad Patterson. You could find me on QLAFD Podcast. That's on all social media handles, as well as YouTube and all digital streaming platforms. You can Google it, Qualified Podcast. Look for more, season 2.
Rashad Patterson, man, Tommy Stone.
We love to glorify the negative and never the positive. We love to put each other down, never nothing positive. What happened to encouragement and inspiration? All I see is envy, jealous brothers out here hating. Urban warfare in these cities all across America. 14 years old, it was his first day of high school. Sad situation, he ain't make it on his first day of school. Being a stepper nowadays is what they label being cool. Pick up a book, get a trade, we need our brothers in school. Cause mass incarceration, they crippled the family. A lot of single mamas left out here trying to figure it out. God got your back, baby, you gon' figure it out. It was ugly in the summer, but I stayed down through the drought. I'm in it for the paperwork, I ain't in it for the clout. My dream beneficial, I ain't never had doubts. Don't worry, some folks just gon' take the hard route. We victims of the system. We victims of the system. If you could change the world, what would you change, man? If you could change the world, what would you change, man? We victims of the system. We victims of the system. If you could change the world, what would you change, man? If you could change the world, what would you change, man? Back in the day, they sterilized our women so we couldn't have children. The future of society, it be the children. They tomorrow leaders. We can't forget about the children. The children, no, not the children. Systematic oppression got us at a disadvantage. If I can change the world, I eliminate the disadvantage. Resilient and brilliant, that's what it means to be black. We done overcame the struggle, that's a finny fact. Our neighborhoods got a war going on, similar to Iraq. These steppers out here stepping and they ain't cutting no slack. In the 80s, our neighborhood was ruined by crack. That's your brother, that's your sister, we supposed to have each other back. Criminalized drugs, now they got a reason to stop us for being black. Can't even wear a hoodie, cause we fit the description. We victims of the system. We victims of the system. If you could change the world, what would you change, man? If you could change the world, what would you change, man? We victims